You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are preparing for a life that never quite begins. Most people don't realize they are stuck because nothing feels obviously wrong. On the surface, everything looks reasonable. You're learning. You're planning. You're thinking things through. From the outside, it looks like responsibility. From the inside, it feels like movement. But somehow, life keeps staying just out of reach. There is a quiet state many people live in for years without naming it. It feels like being permanently almost ready, not failing, not succeeding, just preparing. You tell yourself that you're laying foundations, that you're being patient, that timing matters. And sometimes, that's true. But preparation has a way of slowly expanding until it replaces living altogether. At first, preparation is useful. It protects you from rushing into things blindly. But over time, something subtle happens. Preparation stops being a phase and becomes a place to live. You wake up thinking about what you'll do once you're ready. You fall asleep thinking about what still needs to be fixed. Life turns into a rehearsal that never reaches opening night. Preparation feels productive because the brain rewards it. Learning, organizing, and planning all trigger a sense of progress. Your mind interprets mental effort as forward motion. It feels like something is happening. But nothing in your external world changes. The danger is not that preparation is useless. The danger is that preparation can replace action while feeling just as satisfying. Living requires exposure. It requires stepping into situations where outcomes are uncertain. Preparation avoids that exposure. It keeps everything hypothetical. As long as you are preparing, you don't have to be seen. You don't have to fail publicly. You don't have to discover that reality is messier than your plans. You don't have to commit. This is where preparation becomes safe, and safety, when extended too long, becomes a trap. At some point, many people make an unconscious agreement with themselves. They decide they will live fully once certain conditions are met, once they understand themselves better, once they feel more confident, once they resolve their anxiety, once they fix the last flaw. The problem is that these conditions have no natural end point. They are open-ended by design. Each time one condition is met, another quietly appears. The finish line keeps moving. Modern self-improvement culture reinforces this pattern. There is always another insight to uncover, another habit to optimize, another layer of self to analyze. Instead of asking what you are avoiding, you ask what you still need to improve. That question sounds responsible, but often it protects the same avoidance. Understanding yourself feels powerful. It gives you language. You learn about patterns, childhood influences, attachment styles, nervous systems. You gain explanations for why you feel the way you do. This knowledge can be genuinely helpful, but it can also become a hiding place. You can understand your fear completely and still organize your life around it. You can explain your avoidance while continuing to avoid. Insight without movement becomes a sophisticated way to stall. It gives the illusion of progress without requiring exposure. Waiting does not feel like avoidance. It feels intelligent. You tell yourself you are choosing the right moment, that you are being strategic. You believe that patience is a virtue, that rushing would be irresponsible. Sometimes that's true, but often, waiting becomes permanent simply because it is never challenged. There is always a reason to wait a little longer, and that reason always sounds reasonable. The real cost of constant preparation is not failure. It is time passing without memory. Days blur together. Weeks dissolve. Months disappear without leaving a trace. Life begins to feel fast, not because it is full, but because nothing distinct is happening inside it. You do not remember preparing. You remember living. The brain compresses repetitive experiences. If your days look the same internally, they shrink in memory. Preparation days are uniform. They blend together. Action creates contrast. Contrast creates memory. Memory slows the experience of time. This is why a short period of intense living can feel longer than years of preparation. This is why childhood feels expansive, and adulthood feels rushed. Not because time accelerates, but because fewer moments stand out. Underneath endless preparation is usually a simple fear. What if you commit and discover it was wrong? Preparation keeps all options open. Living closes doors. Once you choose, alternatives disappear. And many people struggle with that loss. Choosing means accepting limits. It means accepting that you cannot have every possible future. Preparation keeps imagination infinite. Reality makes it finite. As responsibilities increase, the cost of mistakes feels higher. There is more to lose. Preparation begins to feel like maturity, like caution. But life does not reward perfect readiness. It rewards engagement. Even when engagement is messy, even when it is imperfect, there is a quiet grief that emerges later in life, not regret over what went wrong, but regret over what never happened, over what was postponed indefinitely, almost starting, almost living. This grief does not announce itself loudly. It sits quietly beneath daily routines. It shows up as restlessness, as dissatisfaction that has no clear source. Many people misinterpret this feeling. They think they need more motivation. But motivation is not the issue. If anything, people stuck in preparation are highly motivated. Motivation amplifies what you are already doing. If you are preparing, motivation helps you prepare harder. The problem is not energy. It is direction. The shift that matters is not from preparation to confidence. It is from preparation to exposure. Exposure means acting before certainty arrives. It means letting reality teach you instead of rehearsing internally. Living is feedback. Preparation is simulation. Simulation feels safe because nothing is at stake. Feedback feels uncomfortable because it is real. Small actions feel threatening because they collapse fantasy. They replace imagined futures with actual experience. Once you act, you stop imagining infinite possibilities. You experience one outcome. That outcome is often smaller and more ordinary than what you imagined. And that can feel disappointing. Many people return to preparation at this point. They tell themselves they just need more clarity, more confidence, more readiness. But ordinary life is not a failure. It is the only place where meaning forms. Most meaningful lives are not dramatic. They are built from consistent engagement with ordinary moments. Preparation promises a future life that feels special. Living delivers something quieter but real. The mind prefers fantasy, because fantasy has no resistance. The body prefers reality because reality responds. Instead of asking what you need to fix first, ask what you are postponing by preparing. This question interrupts the loop. It forces honesty. It reveals the fear beneath the planning. Discomfort often signals that you are touching something real, something you have been avoiding. Living does not require reckless change. It does not require dramatic transformation. It requires choosing one small, imperfect action and allowing it to matter. It requires tolerating uncertainty. You do not need to feel ready. Readiness is not a prerequisite for action. You live first. Readiness emerges later. Confidence follows action. Clarity follows experience. Preparation cannot replace either. It can only delay them. At some point, preparation stops being preparation. It becomes avoidance dressed as responsibility. The longer it continues, the harder it is to recognize. Because it feels productive. But productivity is not presence, and presence is what makes life feel real. You do not need to stop preparing entirely. Preparation has its place. You need to stop using preparation as a substitute for living. You need to stop waiting for permission from a future version of yourself. Whatever you are waiting to be ready for, you are already capable of beginning. Not perfectly, not confidently, just honestly. That is where living actually starts.